you so much for joining me in today's episode of All Things Nursing, where we're going to discuss management theories in leadership and management. So, the following is an outline of today's discussion. So, we're going to begin with the key definition of management theory so that it opens our understanding to what we are going to discuss. Then, from there, we're also going to look at the theories individually. So, we're going to begin by discussing the classical theory, which has the scientific management theory, which was created by Frederick Taylor. Then we have the administrative theory, where we have Henry Fayol. Then we have the human-centered theory, which has the human relation, which was formulated by Elton Moyer. Then we have the theory X and theory Y, which was formulated by Douglas MacGregor. Then we have the modern theory, where we have the system theory and the contingency theory. Then we're also going to conclude by discussing the importance of these theories. So without wasting much of your time, let us begin with the definition of terms. So in definition, management theories are conceptual framework that explains how organizations can be structured, led, and operated to achieve goals effectively. So they basically provide principles, models, and guidelines for managers to understand. So they help managers to understand how to organize work, structure, processes, and efficiency. They also help managers to understand how to lead people, hereby bringing about motivation, communication, and decision making. They also help managers to understand how to adapt to change in terms of flexibility, system thinking, and strategy. So, in short, management theories are maps that basically guide managers in navigating complex organizational challenges. So they do not prescribe one single way of managing, but they offer different perspectives depending on the situation. So according to our guideline, we are going to begin by discussing the classical theories, right? So the classical theory has the scientific management theory, which I earlier mentioned was formulated by Frederick Taylor. So under the scientific management theory, we are looking about how work should be studied scientifically to find the most efficient way of doing tasks. So it emphasizes on standardization, specialization, and close supervision. So workers are seen as part of a machine, and efficiency is the ultimate goal. So in the hospital setup, an example would be in operating theaters, tasks are broken down into precise steps. So we have instrument preparation, surgery, post-operative care. So this reduces error and also increases speed. The next theory under the classical management theory is the administrative theory. Then this theory mainly focuses on management as a universal process with principles that apply across organizations. So Fayol identified functions like planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. So it's about structure and clear authority in a hospital setting. We can give an example on a hospital director uses Fayol's principles to ensure departments such as radiology, pediatrics, and emergency care are well organized with clear reporting lines and coordination across services. At this point, if you have any questions, if you need clarity, if you need further explanation or another example, you can feel free to leave it in the comment section, then I'll look into it. Let us move on the next part, which is the human-centered theory. So when you're looking at the human-centered theory, like I earlier stated, this was formulated by Elton Mayo. So this theory is basically about the way managers use people based off motivation. So not just by giving money, but also by social needs. So we're looking at recognition, belonging. So productivity rises when workers feel valid and connected. Okay, so when you're looking at it in a hospital setting, nurses and doctors perform better when their emotional contributions are recognized, which is basically a human nature. So, for example, celebrating teamwork in handling difficult emergency cases. Then we're also going to look at theory X and theory Y, So this theory, it is broken down into two. So we have theory X. So workers dislike work, they avoid responsibility and need strict control. Then theory Y, workers enjoy responsibility and seek growth and thrive when employed when empowered, pardon me. So it's about the manager's mindset shaping the workplace culture. In a hospital setting, a theory X manager micromanages nurses' schedules, assuming they will slack off. Then a theory Y manager trusts nurses, recognize patient rounds, and encourages them to suggest improvements in care protocols. Then let us look at another theory, which is the modern theory, which has the system theory. So when you're looking at the system theory, organizations are complex systems made of interdependent parts. A change in one part affects the whole or the whole overall. So success depends on coordination and balance. In a hospital setting, patient care requires coordination between emergency triage, labs, pharmacy, and billing. So if one system or maybe a subsystem fails, for example, lab delays, the entire patient experience reduces. Then we also have the contingency theory. Under the contingency theory, we are looking at there is no, if we're looking at a management theory that basically supports a logic where there is no single best way to manage. So the right approach depends on the situation, environment, and people involved. So flexibility is key depending on the situation at hand. In a hospital setting, so for instance, during a pandemic, leadership may adopt strict top down decision making in normal times. So they may involve staff in policy making to encourage innovation. Okay, then we also have the last theory, which is the Porter's five forces. So organizations must analyze external competitive forces, supplier power, buyer power, substitutes, new entries, and also industry rivals to serve and grow. In a hospital setting, you're looking at a private hospital, studies competition from nearby clinics, supplier power from pharmaceutical companies, and patient choices. For instance, public hospitals as substitutes to decide whether to invest in advanced diagnostic equipments. So, in conclusion, each theory answers a different question. So, for scientific management theory, it answers how do we maximize efficiency. For administrative theory, it answers how do we structure authority and processes. Human relation theory answers how do we motivate people beyond money. Then theory X and Y answers what assumptions do managers about workers have. Then the system theory, how do we use the organization as a whole. Then contingency theory, how do we adapt change depending on the situation. Then we have the last theory, which is the Porter 5 forces, how do we survive in a competitive environment. So let us also look at why these theories matter in healthcare. So number one, for efficiency. So classical theories ensures surgeries, admissions, and discharges run smoothly. Then another reason why we study these theories or why they're important in healthcare is that motivation. Human-centered theories keep staff engaged in emotionally demanding work. Then adaptability. So modern theories prepare hospitals for crises like pandemics. Then another reason is for strategy. So competitive analysis helps hospitals survive in crowded healthcare markets. So this marks the end of the presentation. I hope you pick one or two things. Then if you find this information useful, kindly share and also like the presentation. It helps me with the algorithm. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time and may God bless you.